It comes right up to Carlson, looking for Crosby. He scores!
You saw that coming, right? Be honest. Before that goal happened, didn't you have a feeling it was about to go down? Maybe you notice a player in the perfect spot, or the defense looked a little bit slow or off. Well, here's the crazy part. That gut feeling you just had, it wasn't luck and it wasn't a guess. Your brain knew it was coming before you did. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how that works. Because whether you realize it or not, your brain is unconsciously predicting hockey plays in real time. And once you understand why, you'll never watch this game the same way again. The gut feeling. The gut feeling is an instinctive emotional response rather than a considered thought. Hockey is so fast, and over the course of a game, these feelings happen hundreds of times, mostly unconscious to you, meaning you can't point out what's happening, but you feel something. We all have a story of when I was there, and in 2025, you will have that reaction as Alexander Ovechkin passes Wayne Gretzky's goal total. You'll know exactly where you are, what you were feeling, and what you were doing when that occurred. Mine from this year is the Four Nations Championship game between Canada and the USA. Before the game was played, I'm listening to all the media reports and I'm internalizing what I know. Canada's already lost one game. There's a whole bunch of rhetoric going on in the media about Canada becoming the 51st state. There's disharmony, discontinuity between friends, north and south. Everything just feels a little bit off, and you're walking around that day wondering, wow, the one thing this place has, hockey, is it really about to lose its crown to the United States this year? So there I am, sitting at home with my best friend, my wife, and my dog. We're getting ready to watch this championship game. But then something changes. My feelings of anxiety that I had worrying about the game before, they start to disappear and they start to go away. And they're replaced by conscious thought and feelings as the game starts, as the puck starts moving, as the passes are made, as the hits are made. I start wondering, hey, I think I know what's about to happen in this game. No, it's not a superpower, it's science. And it's driven by two key factors, biology and patterns of what you see on the ice. We call that pattern recognition. Your brain and your gut have a superhighway. It's attached by this thing called the vagus nerve. It's a nerve that allows your brain to talk to your gut and your gut to talk to your brain. It's actually a very unique reaction in the body, and it's why you feel things in your stomach and in your heart as feelings as your brain is processing them. Pattern recognition. Your brain processes thousands of tiny details about the game of hockey in four key areas: player positioning, speed, defensive gaps, and overall good old body language, tone, and vibes. Player positioning is really simple. Do you feel like your players are in the right position? Do you feel like they're doing the right thing? Speed, you can always get a feeling of your team or the opposing team. Are they really playing at speed? Is the puck moving fast enough? Are the players moving fast enough? Is there the right combination of east-west, north and south? Defensive gaps, not only gap between man and man, stick length away, but we're talking about being on the right side of the puck. You notice very quickly when your player is between the puck and the goalie when you're on defense, and you feel good about it. You feel terrible about it when your player gets beat, like it happened right here, and he's on the wrong side of the puck, and you know they're driving in to get a prime scoring chance against you. And then finally, the body language piece, we are all hyper attuned and aware of this. Almost 93% of our communication as humans is done non-verbally, done through body language. So you can see when your players are fired up, ready to rally, healthy, and they got a pep in their step. You can also see when they're dogging it a little bit, they're sick, they're tired, they're moping around like a mopey zoo lion. They don't really seem to have it today. And they're really looking like an Eeyore bunch of groups out there on the ice. Oh, woe is me, we'll never win today's game. Happens to all of us, and we are in tune to read into this type of body language. It all combines hundreds of times in a game to make that feeling in your gut where you think you really know what the next play is going to be or how this game is going to finish well before the game is actually done. It's that gut feeling we get. We think we know what's going on, and sometimes it feels good, and sometimes it doesn't feel so good. Like that gut feeling you get when you're in school and somebody's cheated off of you. They've looked over your shoulder and maybe you didn't catch them in the moment, but you know something fishy has happened. You just don't feel great about it, when somebody looks over your shoulder and copies exactly what you were doing with the same answer and the same clips, moments of you putting down those answers and those clips. But hey, hockey is all about borrowing, copying, and learning from each other. Some might even call that borrowing, copying, and learning from each other hockey psychology. I see you. Or it's like that feeling you get at the point of a video where you know you're going to be asked to like and subscribe. Hey, what do you want? This was a great position to put this in, and it really goes out to help the channel. So, thanks. 3 factors that help your ability to predict an outcome. The first is experience. Experience as a player, as a coach, or super fandom, or even newbie fandom if you're there. But if you haven't been a player or a coach before, like a lot of people who come into this wonderful game of hockey, I've got a great way for you to level up and expand your knowledge quickly and accurately, and that's with Hockey Tactics 2025. It's written by AHL coach Jack Hahn. The link is down below. There are pages and pages of offensive zone, neutral zone, defensive zone breakdown so you can learn this game of hockey quickly, and they are attached and applied to all the teams in the NHL. So you can learn in 7 pages or less in very simple, plain, easy to understand English exactly what your team is doing to win and defend, and you can go ahead and do a little bit of pre-scouting about your opponent before the night in a couple quick minutes using this PDF book down below, and all the proceeds go to help and support this channel. The second factor that contributes to your ability to predict is the complexity of the situation. And we have 2 key situations in hockey we focus on: set and static plays and fluid and motion plays. Examples of more set plays are plays that happen after a whistle. This could be face-off positioning. Do you have your wingers on both sides of the centerman in the offensive zone and the defensive zone? This isn't a bad idea because you don't want to give up the wall or the side towards the net. And finally, the third is clear patterns. Hockey is a game of very, very clear patterns. We have patterns on offense, patterns on defense, and we have the endless patterns of motion, which is simply just to create 2-on-1s all over the ice. When you're on offense, your team has the puck. When you're on defense, your team doesn't have the puck. Very simple. Can happen in any zone on the ice. If your team doesn't possess the puck, you're on defense. Finally, if neither has the puck, it's up for grabs or it's neutral, and this is really dealer's choice depending on how the coach breaks down the system. So experience, complexity, and clear patterns leads your gut feeling to be spot on. At other times though, it can lead you down an alley of broken dreams when the final horn sounds later faster than you can say cognitive bias and the Leafs lost in the first round of the playoffs again. Factors that inhibit your ability to predict a play. Your biggest hurdle here in your ability to predict a play or predict the outcome of a game is going to be bias. This can lead you astray with 4 different types of bias being present in the game of hockey. We have confirmation bias, media bias, market bias, and relationship bias. Starting with good old confirmation bias. This is just you having a simple belief that is very hard to break in your brain, finding any reason you can to reinforce your belief.
I understand hating on the Cowboys. I get it. A lot of people out there's a lot of haters. Their defense is the best in the NFL.
It's actually mixed into the next 3 that we're about to talk about, but it really is that simple. You go to ChatGPT or you go to Google, you find somebody talking about it, and you just find a reason to make your already preconceived feelings, notions, or outcome a reality before it actually happens. The next is media bias. Hockey is so regional. Here's a map of how regional it is, and it ties into our third point, which is also market bias. So we're going to combine media and market bias just because of how these TV deals are set out. It's very simple. Wherever you live, you only have access to your regional team because they spend a lot of money, frankly, to have the rights to show you those games. We get blackouts or local inabilities without super high paid subscriptions or pirating to see other teams unless they're playing our team. So when you're living in a region, you get that media bias about that team. They know they have a captive audience, but they realize as media people that their audience is small. Unless you're living in the big cities like New York, Boston, or Toronto, most markets actually end up being quite small, and they don't want their media people pissing off fans. So they're going to find any reason to feed to you and me and the rest of the fans all the positivity we can handle about our team. Sometimes there's going to be some negativity, but really it comes down to getting clicks without fully losing the engagement of the people that pay your paycheck. So that's how we end up with media bias, and that feeds into our own bias when it comes to our gut feelings watching hockey. We also have a market bias for that as well too. Whatever market we grew up into on this fantastic little map, we aren't exposed to enough teams outside of that market. So we start internalizing and believing that our players are the best players. Our system is the best system, is hockey is only played the way it's played now. And finally, our last piece of bias is our relationship bias. And this is probably the strongest one. What did our friends, family, parents, and people around us, who did they cheer for? If you grew up in a household that was a Montreal Canadiens or a Boston Bruins fan, good chance you're going to be a Habs fan or a Bruins fan. We all like to belong. We like to cheer together. We like to get emotionally invested together. We like to cry together during failure. It brings us together. Relationship bias matters. The first is to get experience. Watch more out-of-market games as a fan. Read and watch great YouTube channels like this one right here. Volunteer as a coach, play some shinny, play some rec league. At the end of the day, the more exposure and experience you can get outside of your market, the more your gut feeling and your instincts will take over. I happen to watch a lot of games away from my favorite team, and it gives me a really good perspective on truly what's happening in the NHL. And this isn't just highlights. You're gonna have to sit down and identify the differences of what the other teams are doing out there by watching more games that you're not necessarily emotionally invested in. Hockey actually becomes pretty fun when you're not super emotionally tied into it. Sometimes. Other times it can be pretty boring.
Boring.
The next is to practice mindfulness. Ask yourself in any situation when you're watching as a fan, am I having this reaction right now because I have a bias or I'm emotionally invested? Or is this actually what's happening? That will help you dissect the game, whether it's your favorite team or not, in a much more constructive way. And at the end of the day, you'll feel a lot better if your team does end up disappointing you and you end up with a loss. And trust me, I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, so I understand disappointment. Whoo boy, do I. But because I do watch a lot of different NFL games and a lot of different sports games, my TV still successfully hangs on my wall. And the third way of improving your intuition is identify the differences between your anxiety and your intuition. We all have anxiety at some point when we're so emotionally invested into this game. Anxiety comes on very suddenly. Anxiety is like a feeling of dread. You feel your chest tighten and you feel out of control. Like you don't know what's going on, but it's a sense of panic, dread, or doom. Whereas intuition is very clear, concise, conscious thoughts that just jump into your head. You might be sitting there with your friends and family about 30 seconds before a goal going, hey, that's going to be a goal. Boom. Never saw that one coming. So you remember that Canada game I spoke about? Told you this would come back around. I had high anxiety and I had high gut feelings and intuition in this game. I remember my anxiety was high as soon as we went into overtime. I was waiting for that puck to drop. I had that feeling of dread. It's just one goal. What is going to happen here? And then as overtime started and that puck started moving, one key play happened from one key player on Canada, and it just let me know that this was all going to be okay. And who was that one player? Jordan fucking Binnington. No, seriously, he is the only player who in the exact same shift can have the entirety of his own team hanging their head going, oh my God, Binnington. Immediately have the opposing team screaming and pulling their hair out. Are you kidding me? What a save. Binnington, volleying that emotion right back over to the original team by going, what a save, Binnington, let's go boys. And it was with that big morale boost that I could see it. There was a save and then another save and another save. And these were impossible saves to make. He just knew what was happening. The man was dialed in. He had his superpowers of focus going on as a goalie and you could see it. And then there was a face-off in the offensive zone for Canada. Connor McDavid, Mitch Marner, Cale Makar, you know the story. The puck ends up going over to the far side. Cale Makar keeps it in and rims it around the boards on purpose. The best defenseman in the world rims the puck purposely to the best Toronto Maple Leafs player, who uses his little shimmy shake to beat down his opponent, which is actually one of his best buddies, and the other best Maple Leafs player in Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner's little shimmy, shake, and angle change opens up enough space to find Connor McDavid, McJesus himself, open in the slot, and the best goaltender in the world is face down with a tough angle shot from the best player in the world in Connor McDavid, and McDavid snipe show top corner, boom, game is over. And from start to finish of that overtime from that save, you could see that outcome happening. So hopefully this has given you the ability to use some practical implications for that gut feeling, an understanding of what's going on in your gut when you're watching this amazing game, this fast game of hockey. This has been Coach Ryan D, and if you want more from this channel, go ahead and take a look at these two videos we just dropped about the best team you're probably not watching right now because they're outside your market, or the best duo in the NHL between Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar. We'll catch you in the next one. Thank you.